home with my children. Nothing makes me happier than to have some music I could dance to blaring through my speaker, windows open, candles lit, mopping around the house with my Fabuloso bleach mix, you know, and just my kids running around and me saying, don't step there, the floor is wet, te vas a caer, you know, or siéntate ahí, or stop doing that, or stop fighting with your brother. That's what makes me happy. That's what fills my heart. And that's my life. That's the only life that I ever want to live. So when they say to me that pressure is a privilege, I say to them, for who? You know, what are your goals? Because if your goals are to be at home with your family, pressure is not a privilege. Okay, back to AI. So data science, collecting variables and analyzing outcomes. Make changes and alterations periodically to improve the process. For instance, let's say that you have a funnel. Do you guys know what sales funnels are? Sales funnels? Hit the heart if you know what sales funnels are. Tap the heart if you guys know what sales funnels are. Who knows what Shopify is? Who knows what e-commerce is? Tap the heart. I want to know my audience. Do you guys know what e-commerce is? There's someone, a couple of you do? Okay, awesome. So Shopify, or say you have I have some cookies. I have some Scooby snacks, right? I have some Scooby snacks, and I have, what else do I have in my bag? I have a nutrition bar. So say I want to go into business for myself and I develop my own, you know, snacks and nutrition bars. And I go online and I take a photo of my product and I write out my product details and I post it on a checkout page or a landing page. You don't even need a whole store. And now, well, it would be a website. It wouldn't be a landing page because it would have pop-ups. But you catalog your two products and then you click on the product and the product gets bigger and you have all the product specs and all of the details. All of that is data science. A sales funnel is data science. So what you're going to do is you create your inventory page and you notice that you make 5 sales in your first week. 3 snack cookies and 2 nutrition bars. And you say, I'm not satisfied with that number of sales. 5,000 people saw my ad, but only 5 made a purchase. How can I make this better? How can I optimize this so that I can make more money, so that I can appeal to a larger demographic? So maybe rather than having your photo, you know, of your product in your hand, you stage your photo, you stage your product really pretty, right? You get some better lighting in, you take a better picture. Maybe your description of your product gets less wordy and more detail oriented, more basic but detailed, right? So it's more specific to your product, and you make that change, and then you come back in a week and you analyze that data and you see, oh my gosh, since I changed the photo of my product and the description of my product, I made 7 sales instead of 3 in the same amount of time. That is data science. It's studying, the things that you do, and their outcomes, and then deciding, well, or it could have gone the other way, right? Say that you made the change to the picture and now you only sold 1 because, I don't know, maybe you were appealing to your close, tight-knit group of people who wanted to picture you as like a mom and pop organization, but now you look too corporate, right? It's up to you to analyze the data and the changes that you made with their outcomes, so that you can make more changes and get, the more of the outcome that you are. Of other things that I really speech recognition projects like Echo, Alexa, Siri. I told you guys about that. Enjoy having productive and thoughtful conversation about the same things I like, they'll chime in. Marketing, create 2 websites and run data testing to see which performs better. A to B testing, machine learning, brainstorm framework. Yeah, I'll go into all of this the next time. I think that I'm kind of tired of talking about it today, and I'm also feeling like, I don't know, bullied and distracted, and yeah, that's about all. But I did all of this in like 8 weeks. I mean, eight hours. So it's not a long course. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much. Thank you for all my roses. I love flowers. I love flowers. I love heart hands. I love Arnold Palmers. Transfer learning, combating bias. Yeah. Oh, this is what I came on here to discuss. So adverse uses of AI. So while you guys are creating and seeing these ads that are so scary about AI doing this or doing that or what it could do to harm you, thank you guys. This is real, okay? Someone today can deep fake with the use of AI, meaning they can hyperimpose a face onto a body doing something and make it look like a person is contributing to something they've never contributed to or behaving in a way they've never behaved. Pardon me. So that's deep fakes. Synthesized video of people doing things they never did. Undermining of democracy and privacy. Oppressive surveillance. I understand, but at the same time, you guys, I hope there's someone in my audience who understands what I'm saying, because I really want to have productive and thoughtful conversation about this. Oppressive surveillance. Should we not be focused on oppressive surveillance being oppressive, but rather the fact that the only people who have a problem with oppressive surveillance are people who have to do things that they don't probably want to do, that are not accepted or societal norms because of the rigid standards that we set, that are sometimes unfair. People who have nothing to hide don't give a fuck if you're watching, you know? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, if you have nothing to hide, if you're not doing something wrong, then you don't really much care too much about oppressive surveillance. But if the only way you can survive is to do things that are wrong, you do care about oppressive surveillance. So now that we're able to pinpoint that that's a thing, wouldn't it make sense that we help those people? That we help those people rather than harm them? Rather than separating people from their families and breaking up families, we bring them closer than ever? That we protect the family unit, right? That we reward people who are faced with the most adversity and make the best decisions possible under the most terrible circumstances that there could possibly be. Wouldn't it make sense that we help those people who are suffering, and we use AI and we program AI to develop theories and algorithms that will eliminate suffering, that will block all of the teeth comments from my live streams, things like that. Generating fake comments. There's a big one. Adverse use of AI. Generating fake comments. Spam versus anti-spam. Fraud versus anti-fraud. Spam is an effort to allow spam. Anti-spam is an effort to prevent it. Fraud is an effort to allow fraud. And anti-fraud is an effort to prevent it. Developing economies. The United States, China, UK, Canada, and many others have vibrant AI communities, but all countries still have a lot of development ahead. Focus on AI to strengthen a country's vertical industry, public and private partnerships to accelerate development of AI jobs. Mobile phones, mobile payments, online education, data entry, and many other entry-level jobs are being replaced by AI, blocking the point of entry on the economic ladder. And this is that illustration I was discussing. But AI is also allowing for this. So maybe AI is taking these jobs, these entry-level jobs, but it's also putting the person who would need to come in down here in a position to be leapfrogged up here. So all of the jobs that the AI is taking away, it's also creating more and new jobs. And the jobs that it's taking away are jobs that people bitch and complain about not wanting to do anyway, you know? Don't feed into like the negative fear-mongering shit about AI, but educate, you know, your friends. When you're having intellectual conversation, it's always important to be aware of the possibilities, both positive and negative, but don't, you know, fear-monger with them. You know, people have enough shit to be worried about. Like, don't make it worse. This goes back to the GoPro Solo. You guys, for anyone who doesn't know, on Instagram, you can follow a GoPro Solo production, or 1HGV Law. Those are my handles on Insta. On YouTube, I have GoPro Solo. Those are my handles. On Twitter, I have, I don't know what my Twitter is. I'll tell you guys next time. But I love connecting with, you know, anyone who wants to have intelligent conversation about these subjects. I don't, you know, like people who are mean and nasty and dedicated to argument. I like people who argue. I like people who disagree with me. I'm all for a healthy disagreement, but it has to be productive. I'm all for being proven wrong. You know what I mean? With regards to like my theories and ideas and things of this nature. But I don't want to take place in anything that's berating, belittling, abusive, harmful. I like to discuss things. I have an open mind, and I like to see things from other perspectives. As a matter of fact, Xavier and I were just talking about just learning Scientology. I'm Christian regularly. We go to a church, St. James, here in Chicago. I go every Sunday, or at least I have every Sunday for the last like 15 or 14 weeks or so. Before that, I mean, I was confirmed and I was baptized and I was, you know, went through all of that as a child. But as an adult, life was just too crazy for me to go to church regularly. So I got back into that and trying to understand the Bible. I'm doing a Bible study. I'm on, you know, I'm going book by book. I just finished the book of Job, which is what I believe wholeheartedly God is doing for me. I believe that God is bringing back my family stronger than ever. Like Heather's family 2.0, and that I will be vindicated. But with regards to learning and discussion and argument, I'm all for it. I would love to be able to read my comments and be like, oh, wow, that was really thoughtful, or oh, wow, that's a good point, or wow, that really taught me something. The harassment gets too much. I'm only human as well, so it gets to me. I would be lying to say it didn't. But yeah, I look forward to sharing with you all the things that I'm learning. And if you guys are interested in learning yourself, download the app Coursera, Coursera. I could show you on my other phone. I love this, how like it just slims out your chin. Oh. Oh, hello. Do you guys watch The Big Bang Theory? I'm like super addicted to The Big Bang Theory right now, to be honest with you. I could be having the worst day and feel like all alone in the world. And as soon as this show comes on, I feel like I'm sitting amongst friends. I know that's so pathetic, but I just love it right now. And Modern Family. I'm super hooked on both of those shows right now. Modern Family and The Big Bang Theory. Here we go. So more than 7,000 courses from accredited colleges. I'm pulling it up right now. Why are you acting like we have dial-up and it's the 90s? Here we go. So it's $59 a month and $59 a month, and you could do a free 7-day trial if you want. And Coursera, Coursera. I just love it. You know, I'm actually stuck in a marketing class right now that I find so boring. I don't want the instructor to hear and get offended because everyone has their own teaching style, but I zoomed through what I found about myself, and I've been diagnosed with ADHD since I was a teen, but I feel like it's never been a problem if I'm interested in the coursework. I'm focused, bored with the coursework. With the coursework for AI, I never lost interest. I zoomed through it in like literally 8 hours. With the coursework for what did I take after AI? Because that was a good one too. Cybersecurity, intro to cybersecurity. That one was good for me too. I finished that one in like 2 days. The computer programming intro to Python was kind of tedious. And I think that's because I didn't have a translator. So you're supposed to be able to pull up in one window of your computer a coding sort of software. It's like a translator coding software where you can actually begin to practice your own code. And I got super bored about it. Like just I couldn't stay focused. So that one took me like 2 weeks to get through. But the marketing has just been like 4 weeks. And I already took a 3-month marketing course with Shaw University. And I've studied all of Gary Vee's content and all of his tips and many, many other people's marketing tips and a lot of content on YouTube about marketing and things of that nature. But the and oops. Yeah, that's about it for today. I think I'm just going to go and continue watching The Big Bang Theory and probably do a little more Bible study. I'm also a little concerned because the Bible study I've been doing is like incredibly confusing. Like, I have so many questions and I don't have a group, you know? Like, okay, I'm doing the chapter right now, or the book that I just got done doing is the book of Job. And I wrote, Job was a man in the land of Uz, U-Z, and he was blameless and upright. Like, what does that mean? Righteous, I guess. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He had lots of prosperity in life and had a lot of livestock, a beautiful home, and many possessions. Satan attacks Job's character to God. So what? Now God and Satan have like a close relationship? Like they're just powwowing it up or what, you know? And I thought Satan wasn't allowed there. One day, God boasts to Satan of God allows Satan to torment Job as a test. That's so rude. Why would God do that? That doesn't make sense to me. If all God... Satan afflicts Job with skin sores, and his wife encourages him to give up and die. His wife. Wow. Why would his wife do that? That's terrible. But Job refuses. Job's three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, come to visit him, sitting with Job in silence for 7 days. So what? These four were just sitting there, Job and his three friends, just staring at each other literally for 7 days. And if that's what they were doing, why? You know, like, that's so weird. Like, why? You know? On the seventh day, when Job speaks, beginning a conversation in which the four men share his thought on Job's afflictions in long poetic statements. So they start reciting poetry about how they think Job is a loser and how he must be hiding something and he must not be as good as he appears to be because God doesn't do this to the righteous, right? And Job begins cursing the day he was born, comparing life and death to night and day. Eliphaz believes Job's agony must be due to some sin that he committed. So this is where his friends start laying into him like, yeah, well, what did you do? Because you must have done something. And Job's like, I didn't. And even God is saying he didn't. He didn't do anything. He's a good person. And then Zophar, these are good friends, right? With friends like these, who needs enemies? I'm saying. Zophar implies that whatever wrong Job has done probably deserves a greater punishment. That's terrible. Like, what greater punishment is there than taking someone's entire life and livelihood and their family away from them? I don't know of any greater punishment. Job calls his friends worthless physicians. So they were doctors? Job wonders why God punishes based on action if God can just as easily forgive. And I've had this so many times. I've had this question. If God encourages us to forgive those who harm us, and it says in the Bible a number of times, forgive your enemies and I'll make them mine. So God says, forgive your enemies, the people who have harmed you and your adversaries. And as long as you don't see them as enemies, when they see you as enemies, I'll see them as my enemy, God says, you know, and God will vindicate you. And Job and it's also unclear to Job how humans can appeal to God's justice. Job believes he cannot articulate to God and wishes for someone who can mediate between himself and God. So he's humble. You know, he thinks he doesn't have the proper articulation to make God understand what he's trying to say. And he wishes for God to let him die. God, I've been there, you know, like, holy crap, this is terrible. Why don't you just if you're just going to keep hurting me like this, why don't you just let me die? You know, this is terrible. And Job's friends think he is not afraid enough of God. I don't understand that either. They stress their point that nothing good comes from wickedness. Duh, Job agrees. Job maintains his confidence in spite of the criticisms. He believes there is a Redeemer in heaven who will vouch for him. Isn't that God? Isn't that the point of Jesus dying on the cross for us? Jesus dies on the cross so that we don't need to be murdered to be forgiven. So that all we have to do is repent and then we're forgiven. None of this makes sense to me, guys, and I'm really trying to understand the Bible. Then, without provocation, another friend of Job says that he believes Job has spent too much of his time and energy vindicating himself rather than leaving it to God. How hard is it to sit around being lied on? Oh, you're this, you're that, you did this, you did that. Especially when the people who are lying on you have the power to destroy your life. Who's going to just sit there quietly? I mean, in my opinion, you would be a loser. You would have to be a loser. There's a Kim Kardashian TikTok that's like a voiceover of her. She's like on the phone with her sister and she's like asking Chloe, what do I say? I made a voiceover of this. It's and my right to defend my reputation for myself and for my business and for my children. And it reminds me a lot of that. Like, who wouldn't want it? Like, you'd have to be pretty weakened and destroyed to just lay there and let someone say all of these terrible things about you. Now, if it's someone who, you know, their opinion really doesn't matter, then that's one thing. But when these are people, God himself and people with the ability to punish and harm you, why we're taught to defend ourselves. We're taught to be our own biggest fans and advocates, are we not? And then Elihu, another of Job's friends, believes that God communicates with humans in two ways: visions and dreams, and physical pain. He thinks pain and relief of pain symbolize love and forgiveness. Elihu says Job's excessive talking is an act of rebellion against God. So he wants God. Job already sat there for 7 days. Like they took his whole entire family away, and now he's just sitting there like, what the hell? Not saying anything. 7 days of silence isn't enough. And we're always, who here has ever tapped the heart if you've ever been encouraged to share your feelings, right? Aren't we going through this whole revolution of being communicators and sharing the way we feel and, saying the truth and being open and honest and transparent and all of these mixed messages that we're always receiving? And then God is upset with Job's friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, for giving Job unsound advice. So now God is saying, Job was right the whole time. Everything he was doing was correct, and you, friends, you're the problem. God is saying that. And Job defends them. Job defends them to God. What? Job was just getting all this unsound advice from these people. They were telling him that he was bad and all this stuff. God came down and even said to them, you're bad and Job is good. And now Job goes to God, well, actually, God, they're good. What? So confusing. And then God, because Job defends his friends, I'm assuming that nothing in the Bible says it's because of this. It just says Job defends them and God forgives them. Do you know how many times I've defended people who have raped me, robbed me, harmed me in some way? So is God forgiving them but leaving me out in the cold? Because my things have not been replaced, So in forgiving these people and getting them forgiven with God, am I doing myself a disservice? But no, I'm not. Why? Because look, God returns Job's health, providing him with twice as much wealth, property as before, and children, and an extremely long, happy life. So I'm just here, learning as much as I can. I do have an interest in Scientology, so we're kind of looking into that. I have a $200, if there's any sponsors here in the crowd, I have a $200 request for this month. If you guys could help me through Cash App, that would be fantastic. If there's anyone in the crowd, which I highly doubt based on the comments, but some of you in here might be quiet, which I appreciate that as well. If you don't want to be targeted, I completely understand. If there's anyone in here who has part-time or remote work opportunities, I'm very intelligent, I'm well-spoken, I'm capable and willing to do office work, home organization work, take care of children or elderly. I have home health care experience. I was a medical assistant clinically and an administrator at Northwestern Alexian Brothers. I've scrubbed in on sterile procedures and helped doctors get sterile for procedures. I've worked in a number of I've worked as an advocate for filing legal documents for immigrants, for divorce for immigrants, for marriage for immigrants, for papers for immigration. I've done translating, not in a professional capacity because I don't know how to speak like book Spanish, but I know how to communicate in Spanish. So if anyone has any work like that, literally whatever you guys have, I'm completely, willing to give it a try if I don't know how. And if I know how, I'm sure I can knock it out of the park. So please send me a message if you have any opportunity. I have sent out like 1,000 resumes and I'm doing that, checking on the children, learning and trying not to cry most days. That's been the schedule for the past 5 years. So thank you guys for being here. Maybe next time I'll accept one of those live join request things. I'm going to charge my phone for a while and probably eat dinner, and then maybe I'll come back in the evening and watch some Big Bang Theory. This is the episode. Have you guys seen this episode? Sheldon and his spot. Penny. Her arms look super toned. All right, you guys.